Alt art cards are now some of the most popular cards to collect and have been a staple in the Sword and Shield era. However, in this video I want to go through the top 5 most expensive alt art cards from Sun and Moon. Before we get into the video, if you enjoy it, please leave a like and subscribe if you're not already. Now let's get started. At number 5, we've got Scarivoire and Sylveon GX from Unbroken Bonds, which fetches a near mint to mint price of around about $100, and in PSA 10 can be found for $200. First things first you notice about this card is it's got very kind of warm, cute, cuddly kind of feeling to it. Two reasonably popular Pokemon, of course not the most popular Pokemon, but it just has that nice kind of sat in front of a fire on a cold winter's evening feeling you get from it. Very cute, very wholesome, and a great way to start off the list. At number 4, we've got my favorite card of this Sun and Moon era even. It is the Arceus, Dialga and Palkia GX from Cosmic Eclipse, which fetches roughly a price of around $105 in near mint to mint condition, and PSA 10 can be found for around $275. So, as I said, my favorite looking card of the era. And what more is there to say about this card? You've got kind of those, you've got some kind of like Colosseum, some kind of arena to show off these amazing bronzed or like statuesque legendary Pokemon. You've kind of got those like ribbons on the side just to kind of accentuate everything else. You know, they kind of look like curtains that have been drawn to allow you to kind of view the majesty of these 3 amazing and awesome legendary Pokemon. So absolutely beautiful card, and one I think is super duper underrated even now. Oh, it was a meta card at the time as well, so that pushed its price up at that time, but generally I look at this and think, wow, this is just insane, and it can certainly compete with some of the best and most popular alt arts, whether they be from Sun and Moon or from Sword and Shield. On to number 3. So number 3 is our first card from Team Up, which should give you a hint of what is yet to come, and that is Gengar and Mimikyu GX, fetching a near mint price of roughly $135, and in PSA 10 can be found for around $330. So we're already starting to kind of push up in price here. The PSA 10 price is not cheap. Not that the other two were cheap to begin with, but you know, we're over the $300 mark at this point. And what can you say about the Mimikyu and the Gengar and Mimikyu GX? Just this kind of very eerie, just creepy kind of, but you know, it's creepy, but then it's still kind of like highlighted in the middle, and you've got obviously the darkness of the background. Mimikyu, really popular Pokemon. Gengar, one of the most popular Pokemon from Gen 1. 2 amazing Pokemon put together. Certainly big reason for the popularity and price of this card. Another one that I think is still super underrated given its price, and I don't know whether we're going to see that price go up over time. These cards are getting to, maybe 3 or 4 years old at this point, so they're already starting to creep up in age, and we'll see how that affects the price. But a bit of a different vibe to the other 2 that came before it, the kind of the majesty of the legendary trio, and then that kind of cute. This, if anything, this is probably the antithesis to the Gardevoir and Sylveon GX, but cool, awesome, and just Gengar's eyes just peering back at you kind of really cuts through you. Awesome card at number 3. At number 2, we have certainly an interesting card. It is the Magikarp and Wailord GX, which fetches a near mint to mint price of around $150 and can be found in PSA 10 at $270, around about $270. Not my favorite card necessarily. Everyone likes Magikarp. It's obviously that kind of meme derpy Pokemon, particularly for Gen 1 fans. And I mean, Wailord I don't think is particularly special, but I just think the kind of hilarity and clearly obviously it's making a joke of itself, and I don't know, it's obviously a card that you can kind of have a laugh with, and it's not a bad card at all. I do think it's, of the cards that we've seen, probably the one that I like the least and probably the most disappointing in my eyes. I still think it's kind of cool, and I'm all in on like the kind of derpy Magikarp, Bidoof kind of Pokemon and stuff. But does it do enough for me? Not really. But still, great card. Obviously super expensive, reasonably high pop, so probably another reason kind of keeping that PSA 10 price down. So we'll see how that obviously changes over time, but is our number 2. And at number 1, and probably to no surprise to most of you if you're aware of your Sun and Moon alt art, and that is the Latias and Latios GX, Again, from Team Up, the top 3 all being from Team Up, so you know what set to go for with from Sun and Moon. The set, by the way, booster box, crazy expensive, would, you know, insane price, but this is probably one of the major reasons why. The Latios and Latios GX fetches a near mint to mint price of over $400, so that's more expensive than any of the other cards, even in PSA 10 condition. And if you are lucky enough to get this card in PSA 10, it is worth roughly $1,000 it has a population of 731, still reasonably high pop, and again just continuing to manage to hold that high price. This is a bit of a weird one. It is obviously, you know, romantic, and not going to kind of get into that whole weird thing about should we be doing that with Pokemon. It's still obviously quite a cute card. Perfect, you know, perfect Valentine's gift for your loved one or for yourself if you wanted to do that just to treat yourself. But I think, is it worthy of the top spot? I wouldn't be against it. I do think it's an awesome card, and who am I to tell the rest of the community that it's not? And obviously the fact that you know it holds this kind of heart shape, it is very cute. And obviously this kind of lore, Latias and Latios being, you know, those Eon Pokemon, you know, the male and the female kind of obviously having that relationship, the red and the blue, and it's all very kind of cute. And I do think the card is slightly overpriced still. I do think it's worthy of being the most expensive alt art, but there was some point earlier this year and last year where we saw huge jumps in price with this card, obviously just very popular. I don't know if it was due to a lot of romantics around Valentine's Day actually picking up the card. I highly doubt it. That would be funny if that was the case, but cool card, and a great way to end this top 5. So thank you for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, as I mentioned, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and keep an eye out and tune in for the next one. Thank you.